When the patches are fully dry, sand them carefully to make them flush with the surrounding area. When the countertop finish is applied over top, you will have a tough stone surface that will look brand new. Now that surface repairs have been made, the final step is to thoroughly scuff the laminate. This is important because it will create profile, to which the countertop primer coat will effectively bond. Use the 80 grit sandpaper in your kit. There is no right or wrong way to do this step. Just scratch it up. If you're seeing scratches like this, you're doing a great job. Do this to the whole surface. Then wash it one more time to remove any fine sandy debris, and you're ready to go. For protecting sinks and fixtures where they meet with the countertop, you can either lift them up or pop them out completely before you begin, or you can leave them in place and mask them off carefully as we're doing here. Just move your way around, carefully meeting up with the existing countertop surface, and mask off the metal completely. The first step in refinishing your laminate countertop or table is to apply the primer coat. With your primer well stirred, roll on 2 uniform coats with your yellow striped 4-inch roller. On your first coat, you may notice that some of the underlying countertop or table surface is showing through. That's completely normal. After your second coat, everything will be completely hidden by the primer. Use standard painting practices, cutting in your corners and edges first. Then cover the remaining surface with your roller. Apply the primer with smooth uniformity. Avoid excessive texture that can produce a rougher final finish. Wait about 30 minutes before rolling on the second coat. Your second application of base coat is not meant to completely recoat the entire surface. Instead, you will only be applying along the front edges of your countertop or table, since they are a continual point of impact in daily use. This is also the time to spot apply a thin coat of base coat to any areas where the underlying surface is still showing through. With both coats applied and the surface looking uniform, you can proceed with the next step in as little as 30 minutes. The product in this tray was stirred thoroughly from the bottom up before it was poured into the tray. Now, as we load up the stone coating roller, we are stirring the coating contents even further. The decorative stone coating is simple to apply, apart from a few minor details. Like before, you will be applying 2 uniform coats. The main difference this time is that you want good distribution of the decorative stone speckle as you roll it onto your counter or tabletop. Applying this product is easy. All you do is roll it down in a repetitive crisscross pattern, like this, until the surface is covered. In nature, every piece of stone looks different, with random speckle and color highlights. This easy technique will let you achieve the same thing, with no special skill or artistic capability. Once the material is on, immediately pass the roller over the wet surface several times to ensure that it's applied uniformly, with no excessive buildup in any particular area. Just keep moving along, coating all horizontal and vertical edges as thoroughly as you can with your roller. Roll downwards following the contour of vertical edges, like this, to ensure that the stone mix is evenly applied. This packs on added stone durability for performance and also provides a beautiful, uniform, speckled stone appearance. To apply the stone coating in tight spots and in corners, use your small brush as you did with the primer. Only this time, dab the material into those areas to deposit the decorative elements evenly. Then, as before, fill in the remaining larger areas with the crisscross rolling method. Take your time around faucets and other fixtures to be sure that your coverage is uniform. This product is water-based with plenty of available working time if you need it. So there's no need to rush. Repeat these steps until the remaining surface has been completely covered, and that's it. Let the coating dry for about 1 hour, and you're ready to apply the second coat in exactly the same way. So once again, load up your countertop decorative coating roller and roll the product down in a random crisscross pattern. After distributing the product on the surface, remember to roll over it a few times to flatten it down. Leaving it on too thick will leave excessive texture on the surface and decrease your coverage rate. The beauty of this counter and tabletop coating system is the sheer simplicity of its application. A few simple roller and brush strokes are all it takes to achieve beautiful results. Dab material into your corners and along edges, and roll out the remaining area until the surface has been uniformly covered a second time. With both coats of the stone coating applied, and now cured for 24 hours, we are going to sand down the surface. This is important for refining the stone finish and removing any excess texture to make it smooth for easy cleaning. This step also completely exposes the stone coating's granite-like character. This product gets extremely hard very fast, so if you would prefer the sanding to be a bit easier, you have the option of sanding it down in as little as 3 to 4 hours after the final coat, before it has had a chance to reach full hardness. Before sanding, put on the dust mask that was included in your kit. Start off with the 80 grit sandpaper to aggressively shave off the most prominent texture in the surface. Sand in a circular motion to avoid any linear patterns or scratches. Along edges, sand the finish more gently, following the contours of your countertop or table. An extra few minutes of care at this time will give you smoothly contoured edges and the results you want. Almost instantly, the beauty of real stone is beginning to emerge. If you prefer, you can use an electric sander to get the surface to your desired level of smoothness faster. For best control when doing edges, sanding by hand is still the recommended option. As you move along, right after smoothing a section of the surface with the rougher 80 grit sandpaper, switch to the softer 120 grit to give the surface a final polish. When sanding is complete, all dust from the surface should be thoroughly removed with a vacuum. And then wipe down with a damp cloth. If a vacuum is not available, careful sweeping should be employed. The goal is to ensure that no dust is left behind to cloud the finish when the clear top coat is applied. With sanding complete, you can probably see the beautiful stone character starting to emerge. When the clear coat is applied, the brilliance of your new countertop finish will come to life before your eyes. All of the decorative speckle will become prominent. Look for any tiny spots that might have been damaged by sanding, like this, and just dab a little stone coating on with your finger and let it dry. This is the last step in your counter or tabletop refinishing process, and it should not be performed until the countertop stone coating has been allowed to cure for at least 24 hours. Stir the clear coat thoroughly before use. Stir gently to avoid addition of air bubbles into the coating. Roll on the material with slow, gentle strokes. Apply the product moderately and avoid excessive pooling. Pass over the wet coating a few times to ensure uniform distribution. To avoid trapping bubbles in the finish, don't overwork the clear coat after it's been applied. Otherwise, this is just the same simple application as the rest of the countertop system. Once complete, your stone finish will be locked beneath a clear, tough shield. Use your small brush to gently cut in edges and corners, and continue until the surface is completely covered. After about 4 hours, apply a second uniform coat in exactly the same manner. If you are unable to apply the second clear coat within 24 hours, the surface will need to be gently sanded and wiped down with a damp cloth before recoating. Once your second clear coat has been applied, the job is done. Let the clear coat cure for 24 hours and maintain light use for the first 7 days. With your new countertop installed and fully cured, you have a tough stone surface that should serve you well for years. To help keep your new surface in great shape, we recommend the following common safeguards. When using hot air, use a trivet to protect the surface from extreme heat. For cutting foods during meal preparation, a cutting board should be used to shield the surface from possible damage. And finally, wipe away spills and keep your new surface clean with a damp cloth or multi-purpose kitchen cleaner. That's it. You're ready to enjoy your brand new surface with the new Spreadstone Countertop Finishing Kit by Deitsch Coatings.
It's the same thing. Can we watch how to build a bathtub?
Hi, this is Levi with CountertopEpoxy.com. We're going to show you today how to do a white marble countertop. We poured full backsplashes horizontal and then put them in place using silicone to glue them to the wall. Then after fabrication of the countertop, we went ahead and poured our epoxy up to that so that you wouldn't have any caulking joint or anything. It looks a lot nicer, it's a lot cleaner, and you don't never have anything you have to redo in the future. Right here we're actually pouring our main layer of epoxy. We usually pour 2 pours, one with all our base colors, and then we'll come over the top of the clear and adjust any colors for the customer. And when you spray your accents on the top of a clear, you get a real nice 3D look. After pouring it out on the countertop, we start out by rolling around the edges. The reason we're doing this is we want the main pour of epoxy to roll over the edge, and then we want it to have broken the surface tension so that it doesn't choose just a few little paths and run off in like streaks. It's a lot smoother once you actually roll that edge first and then push it over. You'll kind of see what we mean here. So just take your time. Generally, if the countertop is nice and level, it's not going to cause any problems to take your time rolling it into place. Remember, you're not trying to just get the color, you're actually trying to create a very level, even surface. So even though that's epoxied all the way across, you see that I'm actually still pulling my roller both directions over it. You can use a paintbrush to get into any of your corners you need to. And again, just take your time because you're not in a hurry if you're organized with your mixing and whatnot. If you notice, we went ahead and primed our edges. That's why you see all the edges are white on this before the epoxy goes on it. That way, if the epoxy pours a little bit thin on the edge, you still see that perfect white color through it. We do this with all our colors. So whatever color you want in your epoxy, we always prime the edge with that exact same color with a curable pigment. We're going to start out by lightly torching every square inch of the countertop, and then we're going to go back at a 45 or a 90 and torch it all again. Don't overheat the countertops, but definitely spin your 45 around. Start out by lightly torching every square inch of the countertop.
Lightly towards the surface with no alcohol? Does it mean you're not supposed to be drinking when you do this? No, he don't want you to pour alcohol on the counter. Oh, okay. That's what I mean. I was all, what? Why? Why? Doesn't make any sense. But now it makes sense. My brother did this exact type of countertop.
And then we're going to go back at a 45 or a 90 and torch it all again. Don't overheat the countertops, but definitely spend your time making sure you get out all the air bubbles. Now we're spraying alcohol. This is a 91% isopropyl mix with our powdered colors mixed in with it. All the alcohol evaporates and doesn't leave a residue, so you never get yellowing.
Maybe that's why they told us.
Using an isopropyl alcohol ensures that you don't leave any petroleum on the surface, which causes yellowing, especially in whites. So it's really nice to use isopropyl because it also bursts air bubbles. If you notice one thing, it might be a little hard in the video to see, but we spray each one of our 3 accent colors to the complete countertop before going to the next color,
go, Mr.
which
J.
means I usually start with my most contrasting
Hi,
color.
Captain
In this
Sherman.
case, it's charcoal,
okay.
and then I spray a really light diluted version of silver, and then I go onto my white pearl. That way, if I do something that's a little too drastic, I can always come back and kind of tone it down with whatever color it is that matches the best. I'm just doing a simple skip trowel pattern right here. The product actually kind of thickens up and allows you to just skip the trowel right over the surface of it. As it starts thickening up even more, about 2 hours into the curing process, you can come along and simply scrape off the drips with a putty knife. You should do this initially when the product's pretty runny, and you should just continue doing this until it kind of firms up. Eventually it's going to stop dripping, and you do your final scrape, and it's a whole lot easier than have to desand them. It's never bad to come back over with a torch one more time if you see any air bubbles. And remember, when you're adding a second coat of clear resin to the top, it is going to protect these quite a bit, and you're also going to get a lot more level of a surface. Thank you for watching the video today.